series, and it's really interesting to have you on board. You being an NUJS Kolkata alumnus and Indian Army JAG branch recommended candidate, and also an ICCC certified career coach. It is really important for all the viewers to know that you've mentored more than 1,000 law students and lawyers with an aim of bridging the gap of NLUs and non-NLUs. With in regards to me is very important as being a law student, not from an NLU. And for all of this, you yourself had an initiative by the name Your Legal Career Coach, which it is a dedicated platform for lawyers and law students to share information in relation to the whole law course, legal placements, to share knowledge, etc. So, ma'am, we are really glad to have you on board. And how are you?
Thank you so much. That was a very kind introduction. And like the 1,000 number was, I think, a few months back. Now I think we've crossed a good number.
Ma'am, so how do you feel what importance do you tag to mentorship for a law student or a lawyer in their journey? Because in our law school, mentorship is not regarded in its high esteem. It is still not thought of as a mainstream topic. So how would you portray it to be?
You rightly said it, Prithav, because when I started my mentorship, there was no structured manner in which
Mm-hmm.
any other person was doing it. And now, if you open LinkedIn, even third year students are self proclaimed mentors.
Ma'am, even
So,
pre-law school students, if I'm not wrong.
yes. So, mentorship in a student's journey is very, very important aspect because in Hindi we say ki Guru Govindo khade kako lage paye, which means like
True.
if my God and my mentor are standing before me, whose feet should I touch first? And then it says that I will touch the Guru's feet first because he's the one who told me about the God. So, in my journey, at least, because being a first generation lawyer from a very small North Indian town, I did not have any guidance whatsoever at home or in my surroundings. So, networking was the only way through which I made my own mentors, and luckily, these mentors were the one who held my hand in the initial days when I didn't know how to make a CV. They taught me how to make a CV. When I didn't know how to write a research paper, do an assignment, they reviewed, they shared comments. They were being very patient. So, a good mentor is the one who is a good listener, who is empathetic enough to understand where you're coming from,
Mm-hmm.
and listening becomes the most important thing because ज्ञान देने के लिए तो हर कोई तैयार है. Like on LinkedIn also, everybody wants to call themselves a mentor
Preach.
these days because if you're in the profession, preaching के लिए it is a very easy thing, but mentorship comes with a lot of responsibility because अगर हर student की needs अलग है तो
Mm-hmm.
one objective answer cannot fit all. It has to be always subjective, trying to understand what their background is, what their personal interests are, what their challenges are, what are their areas of improvement where either you can push them or it's better to focus on their strength. So every student has a different requirement, and if you're lucky enough to get a good mentor, like your roadmap will become much more easier. If not, could be possible that the mentor might push you in the same rat race which where you were stuck, or
Everyone is
maybe in a
running in.
much bigger one if they are not able to understand. Yes. So for me, because I was lucky enough to get different set of mentors and different phases of life, I even reach back to those mentors even now whenever I'm stuck, and I tell them that this is the decision I'm planning to make related to the business. Is that a good decision or bad? So, a good mentor is also a person who will ask you the right questions. My mentors never gave me a what do you say, a curated answer.
Mm-hmm.
Rather, it was always about challenging my thought process. Like, for example, when I was setting up YLCC, my college professor, who's also one of my very important mentors, I call him. So he just asked me, Samanika, what are you going to offer differently what nobody else is offering? Firstly. Secondly, why should a student come to you? And thirdly, and most importantly, few years down the line, when the market will get saturated, how do you plan to sustain yourself? I'm so glad that he asked me these questions before starting my business so that now, when the market is actually getting saturated, I am not in the same challenging phase, or it's not something new or shocking to me.
True.
right? So similarly, those kind of questions, like for example, in between there was a time when I needed to borrow some money, and I reached out to another friend come mentor of mine, and he asked me some very very difficult questions, because he said that, like, as a friend I do not mind giving you money,
Mm-hmm.
but because I'm planning to use this money in the business, I do want to understand that, okay, you have created a great product, that's completely fine, you might have a lot of fan following also, that's also completely fine, but is that fan following converting into business? Is that converting into numbers? And only based on that I can give you the money. So again, those kind of challenging conversations mentors have with you, they do not sugarcoat things for you to make life easier. Rather, they ask you difficult questions so that you are ready for the world. So that's the
Manshu,
important.
now that we know mentorship and its importance, the another question which people, even I had or rather have, is how do we find mentors? I mean, is there a proper structure? Do we randomly message on LinkedIn? What do we do to find mentors?
Come to us. Come to us is the easiest answer, I would say, because we've created the platform just for this
Absolutely.
purpose. But other than that, see, there are mentors all around you. Just that you have to be intuitive enough and conscious enough in choosing them. It's not like every other Didi Bhaiya could be a mentor,
Hmm.
but at the same time, those Didi Bhaiyas could also be the mentors. At least I had them. Like, I was in my first year, and there
Hmm.
was a fourth year senior. I messaged saying, Bhaiya, can you please help me? I'm not able to understand
Hmm.
this project. This is my first level draft which I've prepared. He was being patient enough to give me comments in my document, so that I can work on those, and then I submitted then I understood what the faculty was actually looking for. Similarly, when I was working in the law firm, and like, even though my own partners were good mentors, but there are times when, like, you want to have a third person view. There is an eagle eye view, right? So there were few other people in other teams whom I consider, like, there was one partner in the litigation team,
Hmm.
had nothing to do with litigation. But luckily, he was a mentor to most of us. So anytime I would be in a challenging phase, I would text him like, "Would you be able to, like, give me
Help me
5 minutes?"
out.
To you, and he would just simplify things. For example, one day, like, very funny thing, it happens with most of us in the first year when you meet new people. Now, that transition from a student to a professional,
True.
you don't understand what your boss or the leader is expecting out of you,
True.
so you do tend to make a lot of silly mistakes. So I reached out to this person and I said that, like, this is what is happening, I'm finding it very difficult, this, that, and all. But at the same time, I understand where my senior is coming from, these are his expectations, this, that, and all. So he listened to me very patiently, he smiled, and then he said, "Samanika, तुझे अगर इंसान समझने आ गए तो फिर तो काम तो बहुत easy है. Once you've understood how to handle humans,
True.
then, like, you will be able to do anything." Right. So these small little kind of pushes, they can give you. Now, coming back to your question of where to find them, they are all around you. You just have to keep testing. The best thing is if you can go for a paid structure with somebody who has good experience, right? Like, for example, us, then you can definitely come to us. But even if you cannot afford a paid thing, there are, and even in paid, like, just because somebody is charging does not mean they might be providing. You
Exactly,
have to
ma'am.
do
This
it
is the,
diligently.
I mean, the
Yeah.
follow-up question which I wanted to ask: why are people refraining from doing these paid mentorships and everything? What mental block do you think they have? As students, our sense.
Actually, what happened, Pratha, was that in the past 2.5 years post-pandemic, this was the easiest career a lot of people could pick,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they didn't have good credentials, but they thought that maybe I have a passion to teach. Now,
Mm-hmm.
somebody having a passion to teach and a student actually being able to connect with that person are not the same things.
True.
We, in every law school, we have so many faculties, but we do not like sitting in every teacher's classes, right?
True.
And also a lot of people who thought they were capable enough of giving gyan, I believe might have, some of them might have not satisfied the students in terms of how the student was expecting. Because, like I said, in mentorship, empathy becomes a very, very important aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And like, the student is not additionally paying you to come to another teacher. It's not a tuition class. It's not even
Exactly.
an
Mm.
internship class. It's a mentorship. So you, if you do not have that vibe that I am approachable and you can open up, like in my case, students have come and shared all sort of challenges. Like, people have cried on screen, and I've let them cry. I've given them that space.
Peace.
Somebody has said, spoken about their family issues, somebody has spoken about the kind of gender related identity challenges they face. Now even I was shocked that how is this person able to share it. Maybe like we were as a platform were able to give that person this sense that yes, we are approachable enough and your
Mm-hmm.
secrets will remain secret with us, you can open up. Like the person after the session texted me saying that please do not share this because I have not even opened up in front of my family. Now
Families.
that's a very big thing,
True.
right? And these kind of aspects are very important because career mentorship is not only about आपका goal क्या है and how to reach that.
Yeah.
Different people are struggling, their students, professionals, everybody is carrying different set of baggages in their lives, right? So if as a mentor you're not able to help them put the baggage aside, they're just carrying the load, they might not be able to get the same results, and then the student will feel that okay, problem is with me. He might either go into the self doubt phase or he'll go to the other extreme where he'll say the problem is in the mentor because nobody is able to guide me properly,
Guide me or
right?
hear me
Yeah.
out, understand me. Different things.
Yeah,
True.
right. So that's why, like, finding those people who are empathetic enough, who have the skill sets, who have the industry knowledge and exposure both, that combination is very rare. So you might have seen that I announced that, like, I would be stepping back from mentorship and I was planning to return to
Some
law.
days back, yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of people told me, Samarika, you're doing so well. Why do you want to go back to law? This, that. Maybe you're misguided. Maybe this, like, lot of challenges. One of my major reason was this only, that you do not have enough professional lawyer mentors who are doing it full time, who have good industry exposure. So I
True.
was asking them like, how would I be able to justify a few years down the line? Because then even like from law's point of view, maybe I
Even
don't
you would
have very.
want some exposure on your CV or, I mean,
Though I do have law firm experience. Some other people doing it might not have. That's completely fine. See, it does not matter whether you have in-house experience, whether you have litigation experience, whether you have law firm experience. What matters is how much investment you as a mentor do on everyday basis in upscaling yourself so that you know what are the current happenings around you, and secondly, what is your understanding of the industry at large. इफ यू फील दैट नहीं, अगर आपके खुद के प्री कंसीव नोशंस होंगे कि नहीं दिस इज बैड दैट इज गुड, इसमें स्कोप नहीं है, तो कहीं ना कहीं आप अपने स्टूडेंट के दिमाग में भी वही चीजें डाल दोगे.
true.
And there is no field as good or bad. Every field has good amount of money. Every field has good scope. Vacancies ऊपर नीचे होंगी, तो जहाँ पे कम vacancies है वहाँ पे competition भी कम है as of now. जहाँ पे vacancies बहुत ज़्यादा है तो फिर वो वहाँ पे competitions भी proportionately उतना ज़्यादा होगा. Like a girl came to me and she had gone to some other mentor. Now she wanted a career in family law. Like she was very clear, उसको family law lawyer ही बनना है. But the mentor told her, go do corporate internships first. And I was like, why? Why does everybody has to go through the same route? You just
True.
have to do maybe 5 to 10 internships in your 5 years, 8 to 12 बोल सकते हैं, if you're doing both semesters. So who is telling you कि do just the same set of internships? There are so many different combinations you can make. Every organization, every kind of department has a legal team, right? आपको हो सकता है घूमने का शौक हो, आप रोडवेज से स्टार्ट करके हाईवे NHAI के साथ इंटर्नशिप करते
Absolutely.
करते इंडिगो, मेक माई ट्रिप, कहीं भी जा सकते हो. मुझे हो सकता है खाने का शौक हो, मैं जोमेटो स्विगी के साथ इंटर्नशिप करूँ. सो द वन शू फिटिंग ऑल मॉडल इफ मेंटर्स टेंड टू अप्लाई, eventually the students will start identifying it very soon, and then the
Rejecting
word will
it.
start. Yeah.
Ma'am, now that we have a, trust me, beautiful answer in regards with why mentorship is important and how to find them, one definitely being YLCC. Ma'am, the next question is, how do you think we should frame the whole 5 year thing? Do you think it should be reduced as a curriculum or something should be added? Because often, like my experience of this 5 year journey has been that ये 4 साल में भी हो सकता था. इन्होंने 5 साल क्यों लगाए, कुछ ऐसे सब्जेक्ट्स पढ़ाए जो कि जेन्युइनली, मतलब आई एम सॉरी आई एम नेमिंग इट योर, बट पब्लिक इंटरनेशनल लॉ or private international law. I mean, as law students, we thought that how would this help us eventually in any scenario? I mean, so ma'am, do you think there is a need of some alteration here in terms of subjects or the duration of the course?
Not really, actually, in terms of subjects, but in terms of duration. So, Professor Madhav Menon, who's called the founding father
Yeah,
of NLU,
NLU.
had a proposal when he came to our college for one of the senior batches convocation. He said the 5 year course, the academic part of it should be reduced to 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
and the final year should be just kept for internship, for practical learning, so
Mm-hmm.
that the student can do a long term internship and identify his true calling. Otherwise, what happens is, like especially with NLUs where you get placed after fourth year, there's so much of pressure to perform that you hardly are able to take your time to do calculative decision making process. Like you're not able to understand, does this actually interest me, where am I going for. I spoke to senior partner of DSK Legal, Mr. Anjan Das Gupta, last year, and
Mm-hmm.
sir told me the same thing. Samanika, I went to 7 to 12 colleges for campus placement. Every second student says cop job, cop job, cop job. Like as if वो रट्टू तोता की तरह फीड कर दिया गया है कि मतलब प्लेसमेंट के लिए बैठना है तो कॉप जॉब बोलना है. People don't know what comes within cop. Nobody will talk about different verticals within cop. And then it becomes a task of the recruiting partner कि okay fine, if they're hiring let's say 20 to 70 students depending on the size of the firm, राइट, इन अ फ्रेश ईयर, तो किसको कहाँ प्लेस करना है, फिर वो स्टूडेंट को लक वाइज मिलता है. एंड देन if you're lucky enough, if you get a good team, you will enjoy. If not, then you go into that self doubt phase after 3 to 6 months, क्योंकि starting के 3 months you try to convince yourself, okay, I'm learning, I'm in
At
probation
least
period,
job मिल गया, I'll get a good
जॉब
package.
मिल गया, पैकेज है. बट एक पॉइंट के बाद जब आपका सेविंग हो जाता है, देन मनी डज नॉट बिकम so important as it was in the initial phase, and then you start doing the introspection. So इसीलिए आप देखोगे कि first 9 month और 7 month to 1.5 year में सबसे ज़्यादा transition होता है. Freshers बहुत ज़्यादा quit करते हैं उस टाइम पे. Why? Because they do not get sufficient time to do that calculation beforehand. तो इसीलिए प्रोफेसर मेनन का सजेशन ये था कि फाइनल ईयर उनको प्रॉपर इंटर्नशिप के लिए छोड़
Internship.
दो, सो दैट दे कैन डू असिस्टेंट इंटर्नशिप. इफ यू वांट टू जॉइन लिटिगेशन, you can do 1 year internship or maybe 2 6 months internship with litigation lawyers, and then decide कौन से ये साथ ज्यादा पसंद आए, whom you would want to call a long term good mentor and a leader, rather than relying on your luck कि मुझे बॉस मिलेगा या लीडर मिलेगा. दैट इज ऑल्सो द बिगेस्ट चैलेंज.
And you had also posted something in regards to this, if I'm not wrong, on LinkedIn.
Yes, yes, I keep posting about it because I get so many calls from students and also from law firm partners also. It's both side stories. So at times I feel like, matlab, am I the mediator or am I a
Sandwich.
journalist just collecting information? So yeah. Coming to the second part of it, the subjects which you do not enjoy. Actually, Pritham, the scene is that. Unlike medicine or engineering or any other field where the subjects they study, they perform, like get a job in the same domain, law is not like that.
Okay.
Law is very versatile. 50 subjects you study in law school, and tomorrow you can create any combination of the remaining 50 you might have not studied. So
Hmm.
if you pick something like that, these subjects which you don't enjoy in law school right now become very, very important.
Might help
Like,
eventually. I mean,
yes, like you mentioned, international law. Now, my friend went for her higher studies, and then she got a job with one of the tribunals related to criminal ICC, related to, I think. I'm not sure. UN के अंडर आता है.
okay.
Now their international law made a lot of difference for her. That was one of the very important subjects. Then similarly, people who choose outer space law,
Hmm.
for them this is a very important subject. Now like the subjects they teach in law school are we have to understand one very important thing. This is something my faculty had also told me, my mentor I was telling you about. He said, Savanaka, universities were built not to create employment. That is a major mistake we have. Universities were created just to impart the base level knowledge so that you are ready to like take responsibilities and face the challenges of what lies in the practical field. But because of so many private colleges coming up and everybody marketing based on their placement figures, universities are now also shifting towards the employability factor. But earlier universities were never supposed to be like this. Like
Big
जो
time,
होगा.
big time.
हाँ. सो इसीलिए इस वजह से क्या हो गया है कि वी हैव स्टार्टेड थिंकिंग ऑन दोज लाइन्स कि क्या हमें जॉब में हेल्प करेगा क्या नहीं. बट दीज सब्जेक्ट्स विच आर टॉट इन लॉ स्कूल, द ट्रेडिशनल सिलेबस
Hmm.
हैज बीन set up in a manner कि आपके एटलीस्ट हर डोमेन का थोड़ा थोड़ा बेस आप टच कर लो,
Okay.
जनरल जो लॉज हैं, ताकि कल के दिन कभी भी आप एक स्पेसिफिक लॉ में जाने की कोशिश करते हो. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर आपको इंटरनेशनल मैरिटाइम लॉ में अगर आप जाते हो, तो वहां पे do not have knowledge about just generic international law, you might not be able to set up your career in that.
True.
Right.
True.
Similarly, like बहुत ही फनी एंड सिली एग्जांपल मैं अपना देता हूँ. मुझे आर्बिट्रेशन कॉलेज में कभी समझ में ही नहीं आया और पसंद भी नहीं आया. ट्रस्ट मी ऑन saying this on record now. But that was one subject which was required the most when I started doing energy law practice. Now, I had joined the law firm in the banking team, but I never knew banking is done with projects and project finance in a lot of firms. And ours was like for banking and project, especially for project finance, it was almost a tier 1 team, right? Because they had some of the best clients and they had all the best awards, different level of national awards they get. Now, in projects, when you talk about infrastructure, construction, all of that, energy, there is just arbitration because you cannot directly go to the court. You have to first finish the entire construction project because it's of national importance. So highway एक बार बनना शुरू हुआ, बीच में आप कोर्ट नहीं जा सकते, आपको कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पूरा करना ही पड़ेगा. And then you go for the arbitration. Now there, when I got the practical side of arbitration, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like difficult challenges. Why? Because quasi-judicial hai, there's a lot of scope to add interpretations. The subject which I didn't like in law school at all, I used to run away from. क्यों पढ़ना है? That was the same subject I was thoroughly enjoying in the practical aspect. And then it made more sense to me that okay, fine. So ऐसे भी subjects हैं जो कॉलेज में नहीं पसंद आते, but for different and eventually practical field में हो सकता है you might enjoy.
Actually,
On the other hand, I didn't. I thoroughly enjoyed banking. Like I got some of the best grades in that subject. But practically, I realized RBI ने इतना solid डंडा किया रहता है कि there is not enough scope to add interpretation, right? So जो मुझे चाहिए था कि where I could contribute on the interpretation part, I got it in the project side. And I didn't get it in the banking side, which was my first choice based on the theory which I was liking. So, like when you come in the field, your likes and dislikes always change. It's all dynamic then.
So in a nutshell, if I were to say it, it is that you have to go through all the subjects so that you actually end up doing at least one of them, because you cannot choose in law school. नहीं तो फिर आप अपना ही choices कम कर रहे हो आगे के लिए.
हाँ, मतलब बी ओपन माइंडेड. आपका ये भी सवाल था हाउ टू प्लान योर 5 years. वो हम मिस कर गए प्रीवियस क्वेश्चन का. सो 5 years इट्स कॉलेज लाइफ दोबारा वापस नहीं आएगी. उसको ना मतलब एक रेस की तरह दौड़ना छोड़ दो.
इतना प्रेशर I cannot even tell you. People not even in their first years on LinkedIn are celebrating 2000 followers, pre law school internship. And I am in my final year and I cannot even tell you. I mean, it is too toxic for me to understand the logic behind it. Why are we doing this? Why are we showcasing a 1 month का internship with a photo of the law school, law chamber, उनका deception का photo? मतलब
एक्चुअली देखो बहुत सारे एस्पेक्ट हैं उसके, एक ही नहीं है. अगेन एक पर्सपेक्टिव ये है कि स्टूडेंट्स की लाइफ आजकल बिकॉज ऑफ हाउ आवर पेरेंट्स आर सो बिजी इन देयर लाइफ्स, स्टूडेंट्स की लाइफ में काफी वॉइड है. नाउ इफ यू डू नॉट नो हाउ टू फिल दैट वॉइड योरसेल्फ, यू विल एंड अप सीकिंग सोशल मीडिया वैलिडेशन. दैट इज वन थिंग व्हिच वी कैन नॉट डिनाई फ्रॉम अ साइकोलॉजी पर्सपेक्टिव, राइट? सो पीपल हु आर बिजी, जेन्युइनली बिजी एंड नॉट बिजी बीइंग बिजी. आज के डेट में हर कोई बिजी बीइंग बिजी है कि आई एम जस्ट स्क्रोलिंग एंड आई एम वेरी बिजी. Oh my God, this, that, right? So, जो genuinely busy है, कोई sports में है, कोई अपनी hobbies में genuinely involved है, they might not be very active on social media. But somebody who could not again get this kind of guidance from home, from outside, from their mentors, from their surroundings, then they think that maybe that is the only way they can celebrate, that is the only way they can make themselves happy, and that happiness is very very short lived. आपको 500 likes आ गए, ठीक है, उस समय आपको बहुत मजा आया, आपको लगेगा oh my god you've become a celebrity, but what next? And then it's kind of a mirage, you keep running behind it because वो डोपामिन आपको हिट करने के लिए अभी चाहिए, फिर नेक्स्ट में क्या करूँ, फिर नेक्स्ट में क्या करूँ। अभी लकीली बच्चों के पास चैट जीपीटी है, तो आई सी सो मेनी सेकंड थर्ड ईयर स्टूडेंट्स जो अभी मेंटर्स
कंटेंट
बने हुए
क्रिएट कर रहे हैं, कंटेंट पोस्ट कर
Yeah,
रहे हैं.
GPT is telling them how to make CVs, how to make do internships. But it is not just this. There's a lot of permutation combination which you get to know after like being there in the system and understanding humans. GPT will not be able to teach you how to handle humans, right? So second part of that is Prithav that लाइफ में हमेशा कोई ना कोई आगे पीछे रहेगा। अगर आप मैंने वही बोला ना कि रेस दौड़ोगे तो आपको कभी पीछे लगेगा, कभी आगे लगेगा, एंड वो चीज़ फेस होती रहेगी। बट अगर आपका खुद का गोल क्लियर है, मुझे कहाँ पहुँचना है, आपकी अपनी स्पीड, अपना टाइमिंग सेट है, तो आप वहाँ पहुँच जाओगे and आपको फ़र्क नहीं पड़ेगा। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, I knew in my law school final fourth, fifth year days that I genuinely want to join the forces. And that was a, like, Calcutta में NUJs में there weren't enough people who understood JAG at that point of time. अभी awareness है, पहले JAG के बारे में बहुत कम था।
मतलब
Like,
अभी भी
not
काफी मिनिमल है जितनी होनी चाहिए उसकी कंपैरिजन में.
Yes, yes. So I will not just blame my college or my friends, but like generally awareness बहुत कम है. Now I came from a state where every family has one person in the forces. मैं मजाक में बोलती थी बिहार के लिए यूपीएससी, उत्तराखंड के लिए फौज. तो that way now I knew fourth year के end में that I would want to go for the armed forces. So I didn't sit for placements. हमारा जो campus placement हुआ fourth year में, I was a part of the recruitment committee. So big firms came, tier 2 firms came, in-houses came like Wipro and ICICI came, and they all used to ask me, Sammanika, are you placed? I said no. They would be like, why did you sit for this? I said, I'm still figuring it out. Now, doing that self-introspection, that conversation with yourself becomes very, very important. That what are your priorities in life? Otherwise, I saw some of my friends who always said they want to go for UPSC or judiciary and ultimately falling into that trap of peer pressure and then sitting for placements. Like my friend, I knew he does not want a job, but then ultimately he sat for it, got a very good high paying PSU job for 16 lakhs ka package, but he left it in 6 months because he realized that his true calling was UPSC and not this, and like why did he come here, right? So money might not be everybody's thing, and वो कॉलेज लाइफ में लगता है, इट्स नॉट लाइक स्टूडेंट्स टू बी ब्लेम फॉर दिस, बिकॉज उस फेज में होता है थोड़ा सा घर का
एटमॉस्फेयर, कब तक लेंगे टाइप से.
हाँ, एंड फी स्ट्रक्चर इतना ज्यादा बढ़ता जा रहा है तो पेरेंट्स पे प्रेशर नहीं बनना है, तो हर किसी को लगता है नो आई वांट माय जॉब सो दैट आई एम इंडिपेंडेंट. बट आई आस्क देम कि जेन्युइनली बैठो और सोचो कि क्या सच में सिचुएशन इतनी बुरी है दैट लाइक इफ योर पेरेंट्स आर सपोर्टिंग यू फॉर 5 years, दे माइट नॉट बी एबल टू सपोर्ट यू फॉर लाइक लेट्स से 6 months or 1 year. If that 1 year is making a lot of difference to your life. अब काफी लोग उसमें ले लेते हैं वो डिसीजन, बट काफी लोग नहीं ले पाते हैं. That's also completely fine. Like there is in law the only thing we learn is there is nothing right or wrong ever. It's all about perspectives. It's all about priorities. कौन लाइफ में कहाँ पर है. It's like we are not living in a socialist country where everybody is equal so that we can say that no, you also have to do this. No, we can't decide on their behalf.
And this way of yours to bring everything into a phrase is really very catchy. I mean, at the end of the conversation. Ma'am, so do you think, I'm coming to the next question, why have we saturated the choices, the career options eventually after law school? Like right now you said that like you graduated what, like 5 years back or 4 years back, 6 years back. Even then जैक के लिए उतना वो नहीं था awareness. Just taking this as an example, जो कि अब भी नहीं है. मैम, बट सो इन रिगार्ड्स टू दिस, हाउ वुड यू टेल द लॉ स्टूडेंट्स की करियर ऑप्शंस और भी है? सिर्फ सैम या कैम या फिर कोई बड़े चेंबर में जाना इज नॉट समथिंग जो मिलने पे ही आप खुश रहोगे और नहीं मिलने पे आप दुखी रहोगे. मैम, वी आर स्कैर्ड टू एक्सप्लोर इज व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू कन्वे हियर. वी फील दैट
I did a free workshop. It was my paid course, but I offered it for free where I teach what are the career options. Only for the sake 3 hours I just explain this कि देखो कॉर्पोरेट में भी जा रहे हो तो कॉर्पोरेट में क्या क्या है, लिटिगेशन में भी जा रहे हो, बिकॉज मैंने भी वही गलतियां करी हैं एंड देन वी लर्न थ्रू मिस्टेक्स. मैंने मेरे दोस्तों ने वही गलतियां करी हैं दैट वी ब्लाइंडली फॉलो दैट कॉर्पोरेट रैट रेस. 5 years in law school I always said I do not want a career in litigation at all. Why? Because आपकी वो कंडीशनिंग इतनी ज्यादा डीप कंडीशनिंग हो जाती है कि किसी ने बोल दिया अरे लिटिगेशन में तो पैसा ही नहीं है, 10,000 रुपये महीना कमाओगे, एंड देन यू थिंक ओ माय गॉड आई एम स्टडीइंग सच अ बिग एनएलयू, व्हाट विल आई टेल माय फ्रेंड्स, आई एम मेकिंग 10K, रेंट कौन पे करेगा, दिस दैट, यू स्टार्ट डूइंग दोस कैलकुलेशंस,
True.
राइट। किसी ने बोल दिया अरे लिटिगेशन इज जस्ट अबाउट रनिंग अराउंड, दिन भर कोर्ट, बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट की सीढ़ियां ही चढ़ते रहोगे तो काम कब करोगे, यू विल गेट सो टायर्ड, मतलब सो मेनी negative conditionings happen at different stages, which is also not wrong, वो भी किसी ना किसी एस्पेक्ट में सच है, बट एक बहुत छोटा पहलू है सच का। दूसरा पहलू ये भी है कि अगर आप करना चाहते हो कर सकते हो, और अगर आप अपने एरिया ऑफ इंटरेस्ट की सब्जेक्ट में जाओगे तो लिटिगेशन में आज की डेट में जितनी अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं शायद पहले भी नहीं रही होंगी। बट वेन वी थिंक अबाउट लिटिगेशन, द ओनली इमेजेस या तो सिविल या क्रिमिनल, अरे सिविल में प्रॉपर्टी मैटर्स तो 100-150 साल तक चलेंगे, अरे क्रिमिनल में ओ माय गॉड, लाइक अगर किसी को बेल नहीं दिला पाए तो नाम खराब हो जाए, लाइक दीज आर द फियर्स आई सी स्टूडेंट्स हैविंग एंड कमिंग टू मी एंड डिस्कसिंग अबाउट इट, राइट, कि मतलब दिस इज द वेरी लिमिटेड परसेप्शन। तो हम टनल के अदर साइड की लाइट कभी देख ही नहीं
देख
पाते
ही
हैं,
नहीं
बिकॉज
पाते,
इतना
वेरी
ज्यादा
ट्रू.
डिपोटेड कंडीशनिंग हो जाती है, नेगेटिव कंडीशनिंग। बट लिटिगेशन में इतना कुछ है, अभी इंडिया में कितने ही बड़े फीमेल कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल लॉयर्स हैं, वुड से how many senior advocates, female senior advocates are there whom you can name who are practicing pure constitutional law? Hardly 5-6 who are popular
Correct.
amongst law students, like practice करने के लिए है, right? Even for that matter male seniors बहुत कम है, and constitution is the base of everything,
Essence of the
right?
whole topic which we are studying.
Yes, yes, yes. And then like we don't think about it. Similarly, हम लोग ये तो बोलते हैं कि बॉटल को 15 रुपए की बॉटल को 50 रुपए क्यों चार्ज करें, एंड लाइक लॉ में तो ये कहता है मैं स्यू कर दूंगा वगैरह
और
वगैरह,
सर्विस
ठीक है।
चार्ज.
हाँ, बट हाउ मेनी ऑफ us think about practicing consumer law in our own cities and towns? How many consumer lawyer experts do we know in our own states,
True.
right? सिमिलरली टैक्सेशन लिटिगेशन, आईपीआर लिटिगेशन, ऐसे मतलब लिटिगेशन में भी बहुत सारे वेराइटीज हैं। सिमिलरली व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट कॉर्पोरेट, कॉर्पोरेट एक अम्ब्रेला है, उसके अंदर एक तरह से अगर कॉमन मैन की भाषा में मैं बोलूँ तो कोर्ट के बाहर जितनी भी चीजें कर रहे हो आप किसी ना किसी एंगल से तो आप उसको कॉर्पोरेट में फिट
बोल
कर ही
सकते
सकते हो,
हो.
बिकॉज एवरीबडी इज रजिस्टर्ड एज ईदर एज अ कंपनी और दे आर इनकॉर्पोरेटेड ईदर एज अ LLP और दिस दैट एंड ऑल, राइट? सो समवेयर और द अदर कॉर्पोरेट एलिमेंट कैन ऑलवेज ओवरलैप, बट कॉर्पोरेट में क्या, like students come cop, ma'am I just want a cop job, and I ask them what do you know about cop, and then they get stuck, राइट? तो कॉर्प में क्या, कॉर्प में भी इतना कुछ है, आप PVC में जाओ, आप MNA में जाओ, आप जेन कॉप पकड़ लो, अगर आप श्योर नहीं हो आप कैप्स मार्केट में जाओ, अगेन प्लेथोरा ऑफ ऑप्शंस। सो पृथ्वी द थिंग इज दैट ऐसा नहीं है कि अवेयरनेस नहीं है, अवेयरनेस हो सकती है, बट जो अवेयरनेस दे रहा है वो भी एक ब्रॉडर प्रोस्पेक्ट से नहीं सोच रहा है कि अगर मैं ऑप्शंस शेयर कर रहा हूँ तो क्या मैं अपने लिमिटेशंस को दिमाग में रखते हुए किसी और के लिए लिमिटेशंस क्रिएट कर रहा हूँ।
कलर्ड माइंड है ऑलरेडी, तो आप जो भी बोलोगे इट विल हैव दैट टेंट इन इट.
सो कॉलेज में जब फर्स्ट ईयर में स्टूडेंट आता है उसको उस समय जो सेंसिटाइजेशन चाहिए होता है कि दीज आर ऑल द ऑप्शंस विच आर अवेलेबल टू यू, अगर उस समय कॉलेज या फैकल्टीज या जो भी सीनियर बॉडीज रिस्पॉन्सिबल हैं या प्लेसमेंट कमिटीज, डिपेंडिंग ऑन लाइक जिस इंस्टीट्यूट में जिसकी भी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, इफ दे ओनली टेल यू दीज आर द ऑप्शंस लाइक जुडिशरी, UPSC, गवर्नमेंट एग्जाम्स के नाम पे, और लेट्स से लॉ फर्म जॉब्स, इन हाउस जॉब्स एंड देन चेम्बर्स, अगर वो बस ये 5 ब्रॉडली बता दें आपको तो आपको भी नहीं पता चलेगा, बच्चों की भी गलती नहीं है, बट आई ऑल्सो फील कि यार उनकी भी गलती नहीं है, बिकॉज वो उनकी भी ग्रूमिंग उसी तरह से हुई थी एंड नोबडी वाज कॉन्शियस इनफ टू डू दैट रिसर्च। सारा इन्फॉर्मेशन ऑनलाइन अवेलेबल है। आई वाज इन 4th ईयर, आई वॉज हेल बाउंड सेइंग कि मुझे सेबी में इंटर्नशिप करनी, उस समय किसी को पता भी नहीं था सेबी की इंटर्नशिप क्या होती है, लाइक था ही नहीं, ट्रेंड ही नहीं था। Now because I was like kind of doing research around different regulatory bodies, I said why not to do a internship with the regulatory body which is creating laws for the corporate sector. हम corporate internships कर रहे हैं, and then like I kept around it, then I came to know about SEBI grade A exam. So I started when I was preparing for it in 2019. Trust me, there was no online resource which talked about SEBI grade A legal exam. Then when I was working with Ramanuj, I told him during pandemic, ये एक exam पे product बनाना ही बनाना है at any cost because there is no other competitor. So everybody started working around it. उनकी content team ने बहुत अच्छा काम किया and like he also kept pushing कि नहीं तो दे क्रिएटेड दैट कोर्स, देन दे did lot of webinars, तो awareness होने लगी, boot camps, webinars, and then I think that course is selling very well. And उसके बाद, उससे पहले प्रथव 12 seats SEBI की थी, and I think only 4 or 8 people, I think 4 people got shortlisted for the interview round. Imagine, SEBI salary structure was 90,000 to 1 lakh per month. Like
initial package.
ये होता है, हाँ, after probation this is the SEBI's package. And imagine करो कि if they have 12 seats, they call into 3 number of people for interview. So 36 students को interview पे बुलाना था SEBI ने, but there were hardly 4 to 8 people who might have gone for the interview. तो उतनी seats waste हुई. Why? Because there was no awareness. And अब नहीं हो रहा है. At least अब पिछले 2 attempts से SEBI की at least seats waste नहीं जा रहे हैं, because good number of people are getting shortlisted for the interview. So it's also about how much homework are you doing. Like आपकी करियर की कमांड की ड्राइविंग सीट किसके हाथ में है? Are you the controller or is somebody else controlling?
बट आपको नहीं लगता लॉ स्कूल को भी एक ज़रूरी पार्ट इसमें प्ले करना चाहिए in regards with not only the the fees which they are taking or the time which they are taking from our whole scenario, but still जैसे कि for example the exposure which they should give वो वैसा आ रहा है कि हमें खुद लेना चाहिए, like what you said कि आप ड्राइविंग सीट में हो, but technically this is the time when we should be guided by the law school or by the sense.
What I said, Pritham, ki if you talk about private colleges, they are to a great extent focused on money making, being very honest. Like this is like nobody can deny it, right? Because
even they cannot.
We are seeing 200 to 700 students in one batch, and I was surprised. I said NUJS में 5 years in total had 600 students, and I'm hearing now one batch having like इतना size. And so वहाँ पे जब आप बहुत ज़्यादा क्वांटिटी पे फोकस करते हो तो क्वालिटी पे नहीं कर पाते. ऐसा नहीं है कि दे आर नॉट प्लानिंग टू इन्वेस्ट, बिकॉज उनको भी रिटर्न्स चाहिए, उनको भी नेक्स्ट बैच enroll karana hai. This is not the only batch, right? So they are also trying to find ways, but उसमें क्या हो जाता है कि जब if I am competing, let's say I am competing in a class of 50 students versus I am competing in a class of 700 students, तो मेरे ऊपर में बहुत ज़्यादा pressure आता है, right? चाहे I might be the best, does not matter, because then like the quantity over in comparison to which I am competing becomes too big, like the figure becomes very big. I had a girl who came to me and she was in top 40, 50 or top 30 out of 500 plus students of her batch, and I saw her breaking down in front of me, and I felt so bad at that point of time. मुझे मतलब बहुत गुस्सा आ रहा था सिस्टम पे कि यार ये बच्चा top 30 top 40 में है out of 500 600, but the child is not able to feel the importance of the hard work she's put in, because she's feeling that अगर मैं अभी भी top 10 top 20 में नहीं हूँ तो शायद मेरे करियर को कुछ नहीं है, वर्थ नहीं है. वो सेल्फ वर्थ से जो अटैचमेंट हो जाता है, दैट इज अ मेजर इशू. सो बट नॉट ऑल लॉ स्कूल्स आर लाइक दैट एट द सेम टाइम, बिकॉज काफ़ी कॉलेजेस हैं जहाँ पे एक सिस्टमैटिक वे में चीज़ें चल रही है. देखो, अगर जहाँ पे भी आप पॉलिटिक्स या बाकी एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव chaos ले आओगे, जहाँ पे people are only interested in doing what they are assigned to, when they are not taking a collective responsibility as an organization, and I am only taking ki okay fine, I am teaching this subject, I'll teach the class, I leave. Somebody else is saying that okay fine, I am only responsible for admissions, this that, तो वो फिर आप वो results produce नहीं कर पाओगे. तो इसीलिए alumni always help, and the moment you become an alumni, you also should take that responsibility that okay, so it's a collective responsibility. Because I remember during my time 2017 18 19 batches could have suffered a lot, because NUJS में बहुत ज़्यादा strikes हो रही थी, बहुत ज़्यादा political turmoil चल रहा था, but none of that had any impact on our placements. Why? Because we had a strong alumni working in different organizations who supported us and said that whatever is happening in the college does not have to do anything with the quality of students NUJS can produce.
True.
Right? So there was a major responsibility which was presumed by senior batches, who every year took the responsibility of grooming the junior batches. So जैसे ही आपको PPO लग गया, you have now next 1 full year free, rather than spending it here and there, you would spend that time grooming your junior batches. कि, okay, fine, this is how you should perform and not
Mm-hmm.
perform during internships, this is how you should make your CVs, right? So अभी क्या हो गया है वही चीज, because social media validation. So I'm seeing third, fourth, fifth year के students एक दो internship भी लगी and they are charging money. That wasn't the thing when we were in law school. We didn't think about it. Our seniors didn't think about it that way. And again, इसमें गलत भी नहीं है कि अभी बच्चे बिल्कुल वो चीज सोच रहे हैं कि if I have learned a skill, अगर मैंने खुद से मेहनत करके सीखा तो I should get paid for it. But then what happens is if everybody starts having this mindset, especially during the college atmosphere, then you will not be able to have that co-learning atmosphere. Because अगर आपको थर्ड ईयर या फोर्थ ईयर में लगता है कि आपने जितना सीख लिया उसको आपको जूनियर्स को चार्ज करना चाहिए, तो आपके सीनियर्स आपको चार्ज करेंगे,
Very true.
right? So in our case, at least that was not there. We remember we used to look up to those seniors who used to take out time. If somebody got a PPO, they would come and tell us all the mistakes they did, all the good things they did to secure that PPO. They shared their own journey and the roadmap. So those kind of mentorships were constantly happening. Right now college can do it only to particular extent. कॉलेज केवल पुश ही कर सकते हैं, कॉलेज केवल, बिकॉज अगर फोर्स भी करेंगे तो क्या करेंगे, अटेंडेंस मैंडेटरी कर देंगे. अब अगर कोई सुनना ही नहीं चाह रहा है तो कॉलेज
कैसे
का
करेंगे?
वो
True.
करने की फायदा नहीं है ना. सो देयर आर सर्टेन रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज द स्टूडेंट बॉडी हैज टू टेक, देयर आर सर्टेन रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज द फैकल्टीज हैव टू टेक. Like we had some very good faculties who took interest that अगर students की internships नहीं लगी तो we used to go and tell those faculty members. या फिर अगर कोई बहुत unique field of interest है, like in my case I was looking for SEBI internship, right? So nobody knew what is the model like. So I went to the faculty who used to teach securities law. I said, ma'am, like, can you please help me? And then like she knew somebody at NSE or BSE. So she then started dialing people that what is the process, so that at least she could help me understand the Sammanika, these are the steps you have to take. Of course, I couldn't get that internship, but I'm not saying she was getting me the internship, but at least she
Yes.
was helping me with that roadmap, which I was not able to. सो अगेन अब अगर आप कॉलेजेस में फैकल्टीज केवल अपने सब्जेक्ट से ही रिलेटेड वो करेंगे, तो एट एवरी स्टेप if everybody is not upscaling and taking a collective responsibility, then the entire system is to be called flawed and not just university or the admin or
The
one
faculty.
person.
I'm saying in that sense, it is also upon the culture of every law school. Like what you told of NUJS आपके time पे, that everyone was grooming each other eventually, and that is why
Yes.
NUJS is what NUJS is right now.
Yes, even in the batch, like एक तरह से हम competition थे. थर्ड ईयर तक everybody was a best friend. फोर्थ ईयर में I saw people becoming cutthroat to each other, and that's justified अगर आप उस level पे रेस दौड़ रहे हो तो. But the moment people got their jobs, the moment somebody got their PPO secured, उसके बाद they just forgot any kind of competition, and then everybody was just consumed into मेरे किस friend की job नहीं लगी और उसको कैसे help करें. We've spent nights working on CVs of our friends. Recruitment committee has sat down. Like I remember, मेरा college submission भी है, class भी चल रही है, and still there is an internship application which is opening, and I saw a CV which was all over the places, and I left everything aside and I had to sit down and do the CV. Because as a RCC member, that was my responsibility. That was expected out of me. Now, of course, so those kind of, if you have that co-learning atmosphere where everybody takes responsibility. जैसे एक common example मैं देती हूँ, higher knowledge platform आपको पता होगा, हमारे time पे भी था. उसमें assignments आते हैं, questions. So we used to always, like I have seen my other batchmates also doing this. I had a group of friends with other NLUs, not in my college, but I used to do it with my external friends who are from Dehradun, so that we used to plan our internships together. Now we all used to do those assignments together, so that ensuring कि if I am able to get that job,
Same.
you should also be able to get it, right? So those kind of teamwork spirit अगर नहीं होगा, अगर हम केवल अपना सोचेंगे, I should be able to make money, I should be able to get this, that and all, तो वो पता है वो लोग ना फिर लॉ फर्म में सर्वाइव भी नहीं कर पाते, लीगल फील्ड में
Relations
कर ही
नहीं
नहीं.
बनता है तो you cannot.
टीम वर्क में काम करना नहीं आता ना आपको, फिर आप वही आपकी पर्सनालिटी कट थ्रोट काम करने वाली हो जाती है. अभी आपको एक ड्यू डिलिजेंस रिपोर्ट बनानी है 500-700 पेजेस की, वो आप कट थ्रोट होके अकेले नहीं बना सकते, यू हैव टू वर्क विद अ टीम, राइट? तो इसीलिए लॉ फर्म में दीज पीपल देन स्ट्रगल अ लॉट टू सर्वाइव.
Ma'am, this bringing me to our last question for today, that how do you think, I mean, like I'll tell you my example. in my law school I went through different subjects. I went through various uh, courses in those subjects. But मुझे basic skills ही नहीं आती थी, जैसे word. आप लॉ इंटर्नशिप में जा रहे हो, आपको शायद कंपटीशन लॉ इतना काम ना है, बट वर्ड ऐप यूज़ करना ही आपके लिए सबसे ज़रूरी और डिफ़िकल्ट है. पावर पॉइंट कैसा वो करना. एंड वो मैम, मतलब मैं अभी भी याद है, शेयर में एग्जांपल, दे आस्क्ड मी टू हैव दैट कमेंट्स वाला ऑप्शन ओपन वेर यू ट्रैक योर वॉट एवर यू अपडेट इन वर्ड. और मुझे वो करना ही नहीं आ रहा है. आई डू नॉट नो हाउ टू एनेबल द ट्रैक मोड. I'm searching on YouTube, etc. Ma'am, so taking this example, ma'am, what do you think should be the basic qualities every law student should know besides law, जैसे Word, PowerPoint, etc. in order to not have that speed breaker when you go to
See,
any
Pratap,
interview?
ऐसे तो टेक्नोलॉजी विल कीप अपडेटिंग एंड चैलेंजेस आएंगे. हो सकता है ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन वर्ड पे काम कर रही है, आपको अभी वर्ड में चैलेंज हुआ. हो सकता है नेक्स्ट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एक्सेल में काम करेगी, आपको वहां
True.
चैलेंज होगा. राइट. तो दीज आर द स्किल्स यू कैन ऑलवेज कीप बिल्डिंग. ऐसा नोबडी इज परफेक्ट कि पहले से आता हो. ऑफ कोर्स टेक्नोलॉजी जितना आप खुद को अपग्रेडेड रखते हो ऑलवेज हेल्प्स. जितना ज्यादा आप उन सॉफ्टवेयर्स को एवरीडे लाइफ में
यूज
यूज
करते
करते
हो.
हो उतना ज्यादा भी आप सीखते हो. ट्रैक चेंज मोस्टली काफी लॉ स्टूडेंट्स को नहीं आता. मुझे खुद नहीं आता था. मैंने तो एसोसिएट बनने के बाद सीखा होगा शायद, या फिर मे बी फिफ्थ ईयर में ही किसी इंटर्नशिप में किसी भले मानुष सीनियर ने सिखाया होगा एसोसिएट ने. सो दीज आर द थिंग्स वी लर्न ड्यूरिंग द जर्नी इटसेल्फ. बट लाइक द बेसिक स्किल्स विच यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट कि अ स्टूडेंट विल
Should
हैव
have.
इज लाइक सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस पे आप जितना काम कर सको, दैट यू स्टॉप फाइंडिंग योर सेल्फ वर्थ आउटसाइड एंड यू ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड द डिफरेंस बिटवीन इनर मोटिवेशनल फैक्टर्स एंड एक्सटर्नल मोटिवेशनल फैक्टर्स.
Okay.
सो अगर आप इंटरनल मोटिवेशनल फैक्टर है तो आपको फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. मतलब ठीक है, एक बार डांट पड़ जाएगी, इतना भी नहीं आता. अच्छा नहीं आता तभी तो इंटर्नशिप करने आए हैं ना. तो मतलब दोज आर द थिंग्स दैट विल नॉट अफेक्ट यू. बट अदरवाइज यू विल टेक इट ऑन योर ईगो कि मतलब मुझे ऐसे कैसे बोल दिया. इट हैपेंड विद मी. लाइक आई वाज द एसोसिएट एंड देयर वाज दिस गर्ल. आई गेव हर अ टास्क टू कॉपी पेस्ट एंड लाइक मेक अ टेबल. She literally did just copy pasting, control C, control V. After 2 hours, I went to her and it's all my table is all over the place. And I said, "What did you do?" She said, "You just told copy paste." So I did control C, control V. I said, 2 hours just to see do control C, control V. So I said, this was the table. You had to manually put it so that like the entire design does not get disturbed.
Distorted.
And she took that conversation so personally that she reported me to the HR, saying that how can she talk to me in that tone? Who is she to tell me like that? And I was like, okay, I have to be very careful. So a lot of people take these things on their self worth part कि मतलब कैसे बोल दिया, मतलब ego बहुत sensitive हो जाता है वहाँ पे. You just have to understand life is a like पूरा learning process. Every day we are learning. Like अभी भी मतलब we were building our website तो मुझे पता चला कि अच्छा when you are working on Canva to design, then you have a hex code for the color. But on the other platform, maybe HTTP, it's called REG or REX, some RGB code.
RGB.
So हर दिन आप कुछ नया
सीखते
सीखते
हैं.
हैं. Then you're like, okay,
Open to
that's how
learning is, I mean, what
open
you
to
are.
learn. Coming back to your question of law school related skills, सबसे पहले this was something I used to teach in my holistic development program also. एक structured way में जाओ कि identify your interest, identify what all options are available in the market. और अगर आप tick mark नहीं कर रहे हो तो cross mark करना शुरू कर दो, so that you know कि हाँ नहीं जाना है. Then identify the right organizations for you based on that interest. कि हो सकता है लाइक आपको क्या क्या आपकी लाइफ की प्रायोरिटीज है. आपको स्मॉल साइज टीम पसंद है, आपको बिग साइज टीम पसंद है, आपको एक डिसेंट सैलरी चाहिए या आपको बहुत ज्यादा सैलरी चाहिए, आपको फिक्स नंबर ऑफ आवर्स में काम करना है, आपको नंबर ऑफ आवर्स मैटर नहीं करेगा स्टार्टिंग ऑफ द करियर में, आपको हॉबीज पे भी ध्यान देना है या आप एक बिल्कुल वर्कहोलिक. तो मतलब सबके अलग अलग पर्सनैलिटी टाइप्स वो होते हैं, अपने एक्सपेक्टेशंस होती हैं, अपने आपकी तरफ से भी कमिटमेंट्स. अब क्या है आपकी जनरेशन के साथ, जेनजी के साथ एक सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज हम लोग फेस कर रहे हैं वो ये है, जेनजी बहुत ज्यादा मतलब अवेयर है. बट वो बोलते हैं ना किसी चीज की भी अति अच्छी नहीं होती. तो इट्स लाइक दैट नाउ यू गाइज आर ओवर इन्फॉर्म्ड. अब what is happening with that over information is that you know what you guys want, which is a very good thing. आपको आपकी priorities clearly पता है, but you are not investing enough time to understand what this side also wants.
True.
तो मुझे ये चाहिए 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 तो बहुत क्लियरली पता है, लेकिन मैं क्या दे
दे
सकता हूँ
सकता
नहीं
हूँ
पता।
मैम, ये तो बहुत
वो
जरूरी
कोई नहीं
बात
सोच
आपने
रहा
बोली।
कि people are saying I want this job because I am looking for this, I want that. Like मैं हमेशा बोलती हूँ cover letter में ये जरूर लिखो why should you be hired, or why should like you get this job.
हम्म,
And they all they talk about is I want this, I want a mentor, I will learn this, I would get an exposure to this field. And like आपके जैसे 5,000 और लोग हैं ना उनके पास जिनको चाहिए वो
एग्जैक्टली।
चीज, what are you going to bring on table for them? Right, so that becomes very important. If you can do that kind of introspection to understand what the recruiter is doing and how can I also help in their development. Because at the end of the day, yes, on a very sad tone, I'll have to say it is a transaction. Ki they are also paying you and you are like,
तो
because
okay।
that's why we call you consultants and not employees. As
एग्जैक्टली।
lawyers they call you consultants. So for your consultancy, if they are paying you on billable basis, then you have to understand that okay fine, I have to talk in that terms then, that like
अंडरस्टूड।
as a consultant, like if you're hiring me to simplify your work, what are the things I can bring on table that will help you simplify your work? Because they are not offering a mentorship program in the name of internship or in the name of job. You just learn, you just during internship or even a job, it's a place of performance. And that is one very good sentence I learned from Ramanuj, that Samanaka tells students that like they are not going for internship to learn there, they are going there to perform there. And that was actually very true. That students को लगता है अच्छा internship में जाके सीखेंगे. No, you have to do the homework beforehand. Because अगर आप वहाँ पे सीखोगे तो visible कब होगे?
ट्रू, वेरी
और
ट्रू।
विजिबल नहीं हो पाओगे तो क्वालिटी काम नहीं मिल पाएगा, क्वालिटी काम नहीं मिल पाएगा तो परफॉर्म नहीं कर पाओगे, आउट परफॉर्म नहीं कर पाओगे, आउट परफॉर्म नहीं कर पाओगे तो फॉल बैक नहीं मिल पाएगा, पीपीओ नहीं मिल पाएगा. एवरीथिंग इज
कनेक्टेड।
इंटरलिंक्ड, कनेक्टेड.
मैम दिस इज
बट
सेम थिंग।
जीना सीखना मत भूलना. एंजॉय लाइफ, कॉलेज लाइफ कभी वापस नहीं आती है. सो डोंट बी सो सीरियस अबाउट एवरीथिंग. लाइक फिगर आउट हो ही जाता है अगर आप एक प्लान्ड वे में चीजें करते. Like I knew I wanted to join the forces, but I was very very serious about my CV, how my CV was building. I was intentional about the kind of firms I was targeting and the kind of firms I did not want to work with, right? Because I am an ambivert. A lot of people confuse me to be an extrovert because of my social media presence, but mostly I'm more on the introvert side when I'm working. Like the people who work with me, you'll talk to them and they'll tell you that Samanaka is more of an introvert than an extrovert. So I always looked for smaller teams because it was easier for me to become more visible. It was easier for me to get more responsibilities because I knew that responsibility आएगी मैं handle कर लूंगी.
कर लो।
राइट. बट अगर आपको लगता है कि नहीं, आपको शायद थोड़े ज्यादा हेल्पिंग हैंड की जरूरत होगी, शायद आप एक बड़े टीम में ज्यादा परफॉर्म कर पाओगे रादर देन अ स्मॉलर टीम, तो देन पिक दोज थिंग्स, डू दैट कैलकुलेशन. ऐसे मत करो कि बस जो मिला वो हो गया. People come to me like in the last month of their graduation and they say कि समानिका इंटर्नशिप कॉर्पोरेट में मिली ही नहीं, 5 साल केवल लिटिगेशन इंटर्नशिप किया, बट जॉब तो कॉर्पोरेट में चाहिए
कॉर्पोरेट। हर लोग से
ड्रीम. तो या
Ma'am, so now when we end this interview, you've answered all the questions which we had, interestingly, and all of them in a lengthy manner in which I personally have generally understood a lot of things. Ma'am, what is the last message which you want to convey to law students? Like, what is that one thing which you want to say to them to ease out the pressure or the burden, or to just let them know that the world is theirs to take, if it is?
The one thing I'll say is know who you are and know your why very well. If you know your why you're doing certain things, why you're planning this internship, why do you need this internship? Most of the students who come to me for internship, I give them who come to us for mentorship, I give them a detailed questionnaire which has a lot of whys attached to it. Like, why did you choose to study law? Why do you want to go for corporate? What is your motivational factor? Now, आधे से ज्यादा बच्चे मेरे पास उस क्वेश्चनर के बाद आके बोलते हैं कि हमें आधा तो क्लैरिटी यहीं मिल गई. क्यों? क्योंकि वो इंट्रोस्पेक्शन कभी नहीं किया. तो अगर आपको आपका वाई पता होगा एंड अगर आपको खुद का इनर मोटिवेशनल फैक्टर्स होंगे लाइफ में, तो आपको फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा बाहर क्या हो रहा है, किसका प्लेसमेंट लग रहा है, किसने कौन सा सर्टिफिकेट डाला. बिकॉज देन यू विल जस्ट लाफ एट इट. यू विल गो इन दैट विटनेस स्टेट, वी कॉल इट, कि यू आर नॉट like letting other things affect you because you are just in a witness state that okay fine ठीक है हुआ. वो प्रॉब्लम हमें कब आती है जब हम सोचते हैं कि पिज्जा का साइज लिमिटेड है और इफ somebody else is getting that slice then that means मेरा slice चला
Yeah,
गया.
yeah, yeah, true.
But everybody has their own slice of pizza
Pizza.
fixed here. So if you understand that, then just focus on enjoying life. Don't miss out on living and don't miss out on enjoying just because there are certain milestones you have to achieve. Because वो joke होता है ना, पहले बोलते हैं 10th पास कर लो फिर मजे आएंगे, फिर
Man,
12th पास कर लो, फिर जॉब कॉलेज कर लो, फिर जॉब कर लो, and it never ends.
true.
Right? So in retrospect, when we look back, we always feel, अरे शायद स्कूल बहुत easy था, अरे शायद 12th बहुत easy था, अरे शायद कॉलेज बहुत easy था. So वो तो चलता रहेगा. So don't take life so seriously that you forget to have fun. And at the same time, you'll not become possessive, jealous, or start doubting your self-worth with others' achievements. As long as you know what your goals are, as long as जब आप उठते हो सुबह, आपके पास एक फैक्टर है आपको किक देने के लिए कि okay fine, these are the things I have
I
to
want
achieve.
to do.
So
True.
for that, having a clear to-do list always helps. कि आपको अगर आपको पता है कि मुझे क्या-क्या टास्क करना है, तो आपके पास उसके बाद टाइम ही नहीं होगा और भी किसी भी
सोचने
चीज
का.
से.
True. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining. -3 degrees में from Australia. It really means a lot that आप इतना टाइम आपने निकाला for law students to do this. I mean, मैम ये ऐसी चीज़ होती है ना जो हमको करिकुलम में नहीं मिलती, फैकल्टी में नहीं मिलती, दोस्तों में नहीं मिलती, कहीं नहीं मिलती. वो बस लिंक्डइन के पोस्ट पढ़ के तो कोई पॉइंट बनता नहीं है. तो to have you on board, to have you answer certain questions which genuinely we have in our mind is really delightful, ma'am. Thank you so much.
I'm
It means a lot.
थैंक यू, थैंक यू. ऑल द वेरी बेस्ट टू ऑल योर फ्रेंड्स एंड आई होप अगर एक भी जने की हम लाइफ उस इंटरव्यू से चेंज कर सके तो आई थिंक इट विल बी सक्सेसफुल
Absolutely.
इंटरव्यू.
Absolutely. Ma'am,
या
just one request while we end. Whenever this interview goes on air, it would be really grateful if you could share it from your handle too. क्योंकि जो आपकी reach है,
डेफिनेटली.
that would be unprecedented in comparison to ours.
परफेक्ट, परफेक्ट, डन, आई डू दैट. या
Thank you so much, ma'am. Good day.
मोस्ट वेलकम. बाय.